much the great sweet beats. And y'all, I just said, listen, I hope we all remember how to get into the Zoom room because I'm not sure we've had a Zoom team meeting in a minute and a half, but it's nice to see your faces that I can see. If you're not driving and you have clothes on, show your face. We love that. If you are driving or you're not dressed, please keep it private. We prefer that. We have awesome guests with us today that I am so excited. We went outside the mold a little bit. Will you I'll hold off that. I'll go in order so I know that my drivers don't love when I go rogue on the agenda. Go ahead, Ari. Let's go through the slides first. Gratitude and wins of the week. Who wants to tell me something good above and beyond the gratitude I just gave Ari for her sweet DJ skills? Anyone have a win to share? Something good? Shout it out because I can't see all your faces at the same time. Or raise your hand and I can let you speak. Who had an awesome something happen this week that you want to lighten up the group with? Anyone?
Okay, I'll go. Because I
Go,
always have something
Rebecca.
to say.
Go, Amy.
I don't know if he's on here because I haven't looked at the whole list, but I want to give a shout out to Marwan. He is such a pleasure to see when we walk in the door, helping out at the front desk. He is an amazing human. He's kind, he's thorough, he's always willing to help out. And I just think he deserves some kudos because he does a lot for us and for the office, and he's just a great friend.
Awesome. I love that. Thanks, Amy. And thanks, Marwan. I haven't scoped the participants either, but if you're here, if you're watching the recording, we love you on the recording as well. Rebecca, did you also unmute?
Yes, I
Go
would like
for
to
it.
say a big thank you to Wendy. I'm not sure if she's on here actually, but I was talking with her over the weekend and she was kind enough to refer me to a buyer for one of her listings. So I just wanted to say a big thank you for that.
Awesome. Business referrals are certainly a great moment of gratitude. Love that as well. Thanks for sharing, you guys. Let's go ahead, Ari. Anyone have properties to pitch, new listings coming soon, or something you want to bring to everyone's attention? And again, I can't see you, so you're gonna have to shout it out or raise your virtual hand if you want attention brought to you. Hold on. Our job is selling houses. Does no one have a house to sell? Uh-oh. We better just get straight to the guest then because we need to get some listings up
We
in
do,
here.
we do. We're having technical difficulties, but we do. Stay here.
Go technical difficulties. Sounds like Alicia. There you are.
So Dan and I just listed I'm not Dan. A little a mobile home, 260 out in Palm Springs. It's very cool. It's on the land. You own the land. HOA is sick. It's like 172 and the yearly, no, it is. And the monthly fee for the recreation is 300, but two swimming pools, golf course, and it's unlimited golf for that 300 for 2 players. It's 1,600 square feet, listed at 260, and it's cute as a button. And that's that story. Thank you. You can call me.
I don't know if I can trust the two of you in the training room together there with other voices in the background. Sounds like it might be a little buck wild.
We have about half of a dozen.
Nice. Congrats, Deb and Dan. Nice one. And who's going to move to Palm Springs and go grab themselves a golf galore? All right. Anybody else listing to share that's burning through your fingers to get out into the interwebs? Okay, speak now or forever hold your peas and carrots. And we'll keep going, Ariana. Mondays with Mark. Y'all, if you are not lead generating or on an appointment, you are learning. So lead generating or on an appointment, you're learning, which means if on Mondays, during Mondays with Mark, which it's not on there, it's at 11 or 12. I forget.
11.
It's at 11. I knew that. 11 o'clock on Mondays. If you're not lead generating or on an appointment, get in there and learn from our director of compliance, contracts, specific questions, whatever you've got going on. If If you're not lead generating or on an appointment, you're learning. Are you working 40 hours a week? Those 3 things count as work. All right, next. The energy quadrant. All right, y'all, this is amazingly awesome. This is Friday at noon. Sean is, I know that we talked about this a little bit last week in person. This is Noble's father. This is Real Estate Legacy. He is coming to San Diego to teach this specifically. And listen, I would really caution you if you're like, I'm not into energy and quadrants, like just come put your butt in the room again, because if you're not lead generating or on an appointment, you're learning. And these 2 hours are going to stretch your brain and help you understand how to better communicate with yourself, how to better communicate with your clients, how to best thrive in your personal schedule, your day, your calendar, and really get the most out of you. So everyone needs to get the most out of them, and everyone needs to be a better communicator and a better energy receiver and giver. So Friday, 12 to 2, it's free. We are not charging anything. He is doing this as a gift to us. That is not the case in every office he teaches us in. Please take advantage. I'll be honest, sometimes I say we should charge just so you guys understand that in other places, these things cost money, but through our connections, we get them pro bono. So take advantage of it. Please and thank you. 12 to 2 in person in the training room. Beep. That's my beeper for the old school, like flip the switch, film strips in elementary school. Thanks for laughing, Ryan. I appreciate that. Escrow Partners and Ticor Title Agent Panel. This is next week. This is in person in the training room. This is, again, I'm going to sound a little bit broken recordy, but if you want to learn tips and tricks and things of how other agents are winning in this market, I will tell you, I've had several text messages this week, and it's only Wednesday, and most of y'all didn't work on Monday, from agents talking about deals they did or did not get and how finicky the market is right now. It isn't good, it isn't bad, it just is. Just know what's happening and know how to work through it, and come listen to this panel and learn different ways where you can win and how you can use the market to best thrive for your business next week in person. Beep. Alicia, give us the spotlight on Vanessa.
I'm back. Vanessa, who is in my launch coaching program, just got her first BRBC signed. Coming soon picture.
Like when they're so new, they don't even have their photo yet, but they've got something to celebrate in their
Right.
business. Way to go, Vanessa. Do you want me to really beep every time? I don't think so. Eddie, I saw you. I saw your head. I don't know if I saw Matt on there, but who wants to speak today and give us the what's up in mortgage and lending? Eddie? Paging Eddie. Matt, I saw your face. Where'd you go? Anyone? Okay, he left. Oh, no, there's Matt. Matt, are you not really there? Okay, for the sake of peace and gratitude, I'm going to keep going. If they pop back, we can get back to them. If not, then, please leave a note for your lender and ask questions. Broker Bob, give us the what's up on broker update.
I'm back.
Oh,
Sorry.
that was
Too late.
suspenseful.
Too late, dude.
Sorry,
Too
we
late.
moved
I don't know
on.
what happened. My computer just like froze.
We don't have time for you. We don't have time for you.
Listen, you guys, I'm not going to take a lot of your time. Just want to let
Thank
you
you.
know, for all you sippy, we all have a lot of anticipation that the Fed's going to cut our rates on the 17th when they're going to meet. But look, a lot of people are like sitting here waiting for this to happen. But what they don't understand is like the market plans on things like 3 to 6, if not 9 months out, right? So it's already baked into the prices. So if you have people out there like, oh, I'm gonna wait for the Fed to cut rates, like, please don't. Like, the rates have come down. We're in the mid sixes. Remember when I was talking about like being in the,
and then you put in the 921.
being in
Matter.
like being in the sevens, like mid sixes, y'all? Like that's
6, 7.
we're finally at a point now where we're almost at that tipping point. They were saying there was 4 million loans out there in the marketplace that we're eligible for in the money refinances when we get the 6. Can you imagine what's going to happen when we start having rates that start with a 5? So get the house now, get locked in now, and let's refinance later. Like, don't even think about it. Second thing I want to tell you, and Bob, I'm stealing your thunder. You guys come and talk to Bob and I. We are going to start teaching how to have the language of real estate conversations. Again, I'm really excited that we're bringing it back. And next Wednesday at 9:30 in-house, we're going to start in-house, or we're going to do it on Zoom too?
We're going to do hybrid.
Oh,
But it's best if they're in-house. They'll get more out of it.
yeah, I mean, you're going to have that face-to-face interaction, and you're going to be able to have these conversations, and we're going to dive deep into MDS to start with. We're going to dive deep into NLP. We're going to teach you guys how to hear things that you don't normally listen for when you're having these discussions, so you can have better, deeper, and more meaningful discussions with your clients and actually get them to say yes and get them to move forward. So please don't miss out. It's going to be ongoing. I am all in on helping everybody here getting better, and as I get better when I'm having these conversations as well. So looking forward to it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Back to
Thank
you,
you.
baby.
Back to me. Happy Wednesday, KW Metro, and all of our guests. Glad to have guests here today. So, Broker Bob did something. He uploaded something to Facebook yesterday. It is the DRE Bulletin newsletter. Now, I know you're all excited. You can't wait to go to Facebook and download it because you want to read the newsletter. Because I know how much real estate agents love to read. Be careful. You're going to overload the servers. Stop. Don't go to Facebook yet. But you should go to Facebook and download that PDF that I uploaded about the DRE's Cite and Fine. Cite and Fine. That's where you break the rules. They send you a citation that's attached to a fine. The fines are up to $2,500. So here's something that I thought was something that I forgot about, but one of the things you guys should do, here's a citation you can get. You can get it for failure to notify the Department of Real Estate of an address change. So you should go to the DRE website and make sure your address is correct on file. Also, the other one that they put in there is the improper or missing license disclosure in first point of contact material. So why do I think I call you guys out all the time to make sure you have KW Metro San Diego, your DRE number and RDR number, and all of your first point of contacts, which is all your social media posts too. There's a citation with that. They don't give you the opportunity to correct it. It's called cite and fine. They cite you, you pay. You can't go back and fix it. They're saying send us the money. So again, up to $2,500. But that's it. I wanted to make sure you guys knew about that. Why Broker Bob way they is Broker Bob is because I want to keep you money in your pocket and not having to pay fees to the DRE when you don't need to. Back to you, Sarah.
Well, that might sound like not great news. The reality is that is great news because BB is doing his best to make sure that you're protected and not paying those fines. So thanks, Broker Bob, for always looking out for us. No, he doesn't enjoy lecturing you. Yes, he does enjoy saving you from lawsuits and fines. That's important. All right. I am going to excitedly announce our guest and thank everyone for remembering that we're on Zoom today. And before I pop into Ryan and his team and share what's amazing about that, I had a mastermind this morning. And on my mastermind, it's on Wednesdays. So pretty much any meeting I ever host, you're hearing me say, I had a mastermind this morning. And you're like, is that all she does every day? No, just Wednesdays. And on Wednesday's National Mastermind, we're talking about it's September and how many days are left in the year. And it's about 120 calendar days left in the year, give or take. And for some of us, we're going to start slipping right into, oh, the year's over. It is what it is. I'm going into Q4. Yes, I know there's still a third left, but you're going into Q4. It's going to be the holiday season. It's going to be whatever. I didn't already hit my goals. And we can kind of throw up our hands in resignation a little bit about, let me just start planning for 26 that I can control. Then I'll be better. Then I'll do better if you're not already winning this year. And I want to caution you with this. Who remembers, and I want you to raise your hands if I can see you, visually, who remembers all the amazing details of the first 120 days of the year? You don't, because 120 days is a long time. You have to go look through your phone, look at your pictures. Maybe you're going to troll your own social media, whatever it is. We don't remember because 120 days in the beginning of the year is a long time. And yet, what can happen right now is we start slipping into like, oh, well, it's the end of the year, so ... fill in whatever blank you're going to use. I would urge you to think about, oh my gosh, 120 days at the beginning of the year feels like a really long, amazing launch pad. And for some reason, at the end of the year, we can turn it into a, well, it is what it is. I would caution you to not go, it is what it is, and really get excited about what do you want to do and are you doing it? And if you don't know the answer to that and you're not doing it, please reach out to me and ask me a question. I promise you I will help you. Come to the sessions we're holding. I'm so happy to see so many of you in bold. It is awesome. And Ryan and his team today are going to share some really awesome, I know I just said awesome a couple times. That might be annoying. Oh, and somebody private messaged me and said, please don't say 6-7. Y'all, I have a 7th grader and a 5th grader. So I'm going to be 6-7ing and sigma beta skibbity things all the time because that's just my new vocabulary. And if you don't have kids and that's scary, that's okay. Just go watch TikTok for a second or Instagram and you'll get there. But let's keep it young. Let's keep it fresh. Ryan's team came to Ashley. Ashley loved what she heard. Ashley brought it to me and Broker Bob. And Robert went on to share, this is how I bought my house when I first got to San Diego. And what we want to do here, what I love that Ryan shared was his goal was to like loosen up the market, provide more opportunity for people, and bring more buyers into agents' nets or nests, either way, to get more opportunities in your lap. More at-bats, more opportunities, a little more wiggle room, picture like a shoehorn in the real estate market. And Ryan, I'll let you do the rest of the talking. So we wanted to have his team here just to share exactly the way this program works and exactly how you tap into it and utilize it. And there's a bunch of you who can start using it right away. So without further ado, Ryan Leahy and your team, I see Ethan, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah and Broker Bob. Really appreciate it. So, look, we've all been in an interesting market for the last 3 years, have we not? And one of the biggest things that we've been trying to figure out is when are rates going to come down? How do we go about motivating buyers and sellers in today's market? And so I set out to create a program that was designed specifically so that we no longer had to wait on the Fed to get lower interest rates, right? How nice would that be? Well, the answer is I was able to figure that out. And I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the More Seller Financing program that we created. And let me see here, get into bingo. All righty. Can everybody see my screen?
Sure can.
Awesome. All righty. So here's a little bit of the background on this. So in 2022, obviously, in March is when interest rates went from around 3.5% and progressively increased all the way to 8%. And the market came to a screeching halt. We're out of Austin, Texas, and it's we were leading the market in appreciation and the market across the country. And the flip side of that is we also led the market in the downside. And so I sat there, I've been in lending for the last 23 years. So I started lending in 2002. I'm 3rd generation real estate. So both of my grandparents were realtors on both sides, and both of my parents were realtors. I'm the first lender in the family. And I was talking to my mom about how do we solve this? I said, Mom, I'm looking at 4,700 past clients and they all have a rate below 3.5. Like, what do we do? And she said, we just used to do wraps back in the day. And I was like, well, I've heard of those and seller financing, but gosh, it's so risky. And how do you do it? And so I started taking seller financing courses. And what I found is when I started going through the seller financing courses, and most of them are designed for wholesale. Most of them are designed for wholesale investors, but there really wasn't anybody that was focusing on, or any vehicles that were focusing on highly qualified primary residence sellers with low interest rates. And what about all the highly qualified primary residence buyers that are just looking to buy? And they're just not buyers at 6.5 to 7%, or even 7 to 7.5%. How could we show sellers how to use that low interest rate that they currently have, even if their loan is not assumable? And so I set out to create a program around that. And we are the first company in the United States to do a completely legal, compliant, and enforceable seller financing wrap transaction. We're in all 50 states. And the concept is you no longer have to wait on the Fed in order for rates to drop. How nice would it be able to have a conversation with your buyers that have said, I want to wait for rates to drop, and before I go ahead to buy? What would it look like if you had an inventory of homes that were offering 4.99 and 3.99%? And before I get too deep into this, I do want to take a minute to introduce my team. I've got Ethan, who's our lead seller financing consultant on here. I have, who will also jump in throughout the presentation. Patrick James is what used to be part of the Keller Williams family and now is part of the Moore Seller Financing family, as well as Brett Shagru, who have been part of Keller Williams and the Keller Williams family for a long period of time, as well as Lacey and Eliana on here as well. Wanted to give them an opportunity to say hi. Patrick, I'm going to start with you real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure, my pleasure. And it's great to see everyone on here. It's fun to talk with Ashley's group. Ashley and I have been team leaders in the same circle for years and years. And that's kind of my background outside of being a top producer, was transitioning into leadership and spending 9 years in KW leadership. Broker Bob, I did not go to the broker role. So all the kudos in the world to you, my friend. And I steered clear of that. Here's what I want to share with you. Think of Bold, right? I've been in Bold 13 times. Think of Bold, pain versus pleasure. In Denver right now, I'm going to start with some pain. In Denver right now, in the first and second quarter, we had a 51% fallout rate from listings taken to closing. 28% never made it to being in pending status or an escrow. And then the other percentage fell out from the transaction. So how many of us on this call would be really excited to land,
Uh-oh. May have lost Patrick. Patrick, come on back.
all of the handshakes?
Patrick,
Brutal,
we ended up losing
right?
you right after. How many of you would be excited to land?
Well, there's a good pain versus pleasure. So think of this here. If you went on 2 listing appointments, you nailed both, and only one of those listings reached the closing table, and that happened throughout the entire year. All of the energy, all of the pieces, all of the marketing on a 51% fallout rate, right? We got price, we got inventory, we have transaction fallout. What if you were able to turn those numbers around? And when you take 2 listings that you have signed to go on the market, now, just like in Bold, what we talk about is create more business out of the listings you currently have, right? Leverage. This is a system where in a program that can create some incredible conversations. I've had it happen personally to me here in Denver, where the seller came and said, I had no idea a program like this was even around, right? They knew about seller financing back in the day, but this is a different program with a model and a system, and most importantly, liability being covered. So think of how you can build the business up, right, to a legacy and be able to hit those metrics in Bold. Because right now, everything is in 90-day cycles in real estate. So I just Googled it a second ago. Congratulations, today is December 2nd. 90 days from now. So are you doing the activities, income producing activities? Do you have the strategies to be able to then take those to closing? And most importantly, the fiduciary duty to do the very best thing, the platinum service that you can provide to your client. So I'm going to leave you with that piece. That's what more is. It's something your sellers haven't seen. By the way, it's something your competition hasn't seen, which is give you a strategic edge. And now I'll
Thank
stop
you,
talking.
Patrick. Thank you very much, Patrick. Patrick and I met in March, and he was so intrigued by the program. We stayed in touch and he started seeing some significant traction, and we're happy to welcome him to the team. So Patrick really hit the nail on the head. If you want different results, what are you going to do differently? The saying in early 2025 was thrive in 2025, and rates are going to come down again. And ultimately, agents haven't been empowered with the right tools. Most of us are still having the same conversations. But what happens when you go on a listing appointment and you said, you've hired me to market your property? And there's two things that are moving the properties today. One is if you're pricing your home at a deal, we might be able to do that. Are you willing to price your home at probably 20 or 25% less than you think it might be worth? Most sellers are not. Or interest rates, really low interest rates. We've seen builders buy the interest rates down to 3.99%, 4%, 4.5%. You don't have those tools if you're selling resale until now. We are here to show you a marketing tool. We start with seller financing as a carrot. And when we show that you're just marketing seller financing, that doesn't mean that your seller is actually doing seller financing. Well, what do you mean, Ryan? Well, we have to pre-approve, or the preferred lender pre-approves all of the buyers that are coming in. And then we will discuss how seller financing can work, or should seller financing be done for this specific buyer, or should we pivot to traditional financing? And we can work with your current preferred lenders on this. So the number one thing is, do you think, if you were this one in the top right, do you think you can get more buyer leads on your listing if you could market 3.99%? I bet you could. What about over here on the top left? It's a $1.3 million short-term rental that is the same monthly payments $1 million for 4.99%. Did you know short-term rentals right now are running still about 7.5%? For 20% down, 7% for 25% down, and a DSCR program is running right around 8%. If your listing has a 4.99% interest rate, you're going to get significantly more traction. So you can see these are from all over the country. Let's see here, a few of them in Georgetown, one in Pennsylvania. This is our Keller Williams Empower group. If you guys know your Keller Williams Empower from across the country, they're rolling us out starting next week. So we are making it across some of the biggest names in real estate. 54 Engel Volker offices just signed up with us. I was in Seattle 2 weeks ago, and we're rolling this all across the country for most of the major offices, brands across the country. So what is the MORE program? Well, first, the MORE program is marketing first. Our goal is to give you another tool other than a price drop when you are working on your listing. And by the way, this also will open up your ability to land more listings. When you start talking about creative financing, you add that to your listing presentation. You will inherently land more listings regardless if your seller goes with some of your creative financing options. Why? Because you're the one saying things that are differently. You're the one that's bringing value and creative solutions to the table for a challenging market. And by the way, they can bolt the MORE program on at any time. And I do want to take a moment right down here at the very bottom. If you have any listings, you want to send an email to mylisting@moresellerfinancing.com. Just include the address, and we will run a scenario to see if this would be a good opportunity for us to have a conversation with you and your seller. I'll go into a little bit about what that looks like in a moment. The second thing that this is really, really powerful for, if you have a $1.3 million listing and it's the same monthly payment as $1 million property, you're able to open up the buyer pool, and you're making this desired home just more affordable again. So think about this. How many of your clients are currently approved for $1 million. And by the way, you hear me saying $1 million. Our sweet spot is between 800 and $3 million. We rolled this out in the end of 2023, and we have found the highest success between that $800 and $3 million price point. Will we do them all the way lower? Our bottom in their lowest price point is right around 200,000. And so we have had about 50% of our transactions end up in that in between 800 and 200,000. But the sweet spot is 800 to 3 million. And that's where we have the highest success with our program. You might say, well, who's buying these and what's the risk? And I would never do seller financing. Well, what if somebody on your $1 million listing came in and said, I'll give you $800,000 down. Will you carry a $200,000 note for me for 1 year at a 5% interest? Well, yeah, I might consider that. So I kind of use the Dumb and Dumber line of, so you're telling me there's a chance. So that's the precedent that you can market the seller financing solution for. The people that end up using the seller financing side on the buyer is highly qualified self-employed home buyers. That's usually who comes to the table and uses this program, because the interest rates that they're being quoted by their loan officer is usually in the low to high sevens. So 7.25 to 7.99 is what they're being quoted on a business bank statement loan today. If you have a 4.99, a 3.99, a 5.75, are those buyers more interested in your listing over all the other listings in the neighborhood? You bet they are. So who's a good candidate for the MORE program? So if you have any sellers that have already bought their next home and have their departure residence still to sell because they fixed it all up and they don't want to put a renter in there because they spent $20,000 or $30,000 putting the home, getting it perfect ready for top dollar, and the market got soft, this is a fantastic program to introduce to them, because I'm sure you're all sick of having the same conversation of, we've got to do another price drop. And your seller's going, isn't there anything else we can do? You're like, there's only so many open houses I can offer. There's only so many times I can blast out to the market. Well, the reason you're not getting a response is because you're offering the same thing as everybody else. If you want to stand out, do something different. If you want to stand out, have a different message. And this is how we empower you. The other thing that are the other candidates that are really strong, and we have sales agents taking over entire condo complexes with our program. We have several sellers that are, when they purchased the property, it was a warrantable property. Condo interest rates are still pushing 7% right now, even if it is warrantable. It's 9 to 9.5% if it's non-warrantable. We are able to have you market these condos usually we use 2 points over the current seller's mortgage. So if the current seller has a 3% mortgage, we're going to market that property at 4.99. So if it has a 4 in it, it's driving lots of traffic. Non-warrantable condos. So you can use this to really have your non-warrantable condos move. And then the sellers inside that condo complex will know that you sold that home much faster. Deals that blow up to closing due to minor lending issues. Matter of fact, this was a condo transaction. The master policy got increased on a condo transaction, and it blew up 3 days before closing. And when they increased the deductible of the master policy on the condo, it no longer met Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac guidelines. That wasn't us doing the lending, but the listing agent jumped into their Facebook page and was asking their brokerage what a solution would be. And they found us. Now, a lot of people say, oh, we can do seller financing. We are the very first company to standardize the seller financing process. Seller financing wraps are very difficult to do. It took me 16 full-time people and 2 highly specialized law firms and a RESPA attorney. So 3 law firms in more than 8 months and more than 7 figures to roll this program out at the end of December 2023. So this is not just, oh, I've done seller financing before. If your seller has a home that's paid off, it's a little easier to do seller financing. But what we found is that agents are liable for the transaction the moment they start completing that seller financing addendum. When you write in that payment in that term, that can have it's more liability extended to you. We complete those forms for you. We then manage the mortgage for the life of the loan. And then our job is to make sure that there's a refinance of that home buyer prior to the short-term note being due. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Sellers that have interest rates below 4%. This is another fantastic program for this. Seller financing does not fix an overpriced home. You'll have some sellers that go, oh, well, if I'm going to offer seller financing, instead of selling the home for $800, I want to sell it for $850. That's not how it works. The higher the interest rate that the seller wants and the higher the sales price, the lower quality of home buyer they're going to get with a higher likelihood of default. Those are not generally the home buyers that we want. We're going to be pre-approving all the home buyers to make sure that they're qualified and they have a clear line of sight to a refinance. So just like a builder's lender, when you're going to a builder, you have to get pre-approved with the builder's lender. We do a similar transaction, a similar setup and agreement with the seller. So the seller signs a seller agreement with us, contractually binding the buyer. In order for seller financing consideration, they have to get pre-approved through the more preferred lender. So sellers that have more than 20% equity is another fantastic candidate. A lot of properties have appreciated significantly over the last 3 years, and this is a great program for them to consider. And then also sellers that have their homes paid off. Another amazing way to market their property and have their home stand out compared to all of the other houses in the neighborhood. So what are the risks of more seller financing program? So look, anytime that you do seller financing, there's risks, right? So we've left two of them on the screen. Well, what happens if the loan stays on your credit and the more buyer program with the more program, we overcome this. So a lot of people say, I can't buy my next home if I do seller financing. That is not true. We're the only lender in the country that actually has an outlet for that and at good rates. And I'll show you what that looks like in a moment. Also, with the increased legal complexity, we have a full legal team that handles all making sure these are legal, compliant, enforceable. Our team's been doing these for more than 20 years and have more than 25,000 seller financing wrap and seller financing transactions closed under their belt. What about the due on sale clause? We go to a legendary due on sale. So we have this figured out as well on how we structure the seller financing transaction. Out of our law firms with more than 25,000 transactions that they have closed, not once have they ever had a due on sale clause been put in force. We can talk to you specifically about all the specifics. There's 3 different remedies that for over more than 20 years have been in place. And then we also could offer a seller financing assurance program that in the event that the due on sale clause will be put in force, then we have a remedy for that is like an insurance, but it's an assurance program. We don't have enough time to talk about that today, but we can for each one of y'all that reach out. So the buyer, what about the buyer failure to qualify in the future? Again, if the buyer can't qualify for the refinance at the time of the 3 years, the seller can actually do what's called a renew and extend. So we'll talk about what that looks like. The bottom line is you can also get the home back if the buyer fails to pay. In this case, our buyers and sellers are looking to put more, sellers are looking for more than 20% down. We don't recommend transactions with less than 20% down, as well as most of the buyers are putting more than 20% down and they're qualified for a current loan. They're just qualified at higher interest rates and they're not buyers at those higher interest rates. But what's the worst case scenario? You get your home back with the down payment, you get to keep it, and you get to sidestep the total judicial process because we have a deed in lieu of foreclosure that is executed at the time of the closing, and the deed transfers over to the buyer. But in the event the buyer misses 2 payments, the deed transfers back to the seller. There's no foreclosure process, even in the state of California. So at that juncture, it's an eviction process, and we can help with that as well. So what are the seller and buyer benefits of the MORE program? Well, MORE maximizes the sales price. You see, seller financing is full price most of the time, or it's a very highly competitive offer. Sellers understand, or buyers understand that they are exchanging a higher sales price in exchange for a low interest rate. Again, you saw the example earlier. A $1.3 million home is the same monthly payments, $1,030,000. That's a $270,000 swing in price point versus payment. You see, the seller's not going to come down $270,000. They would probably rent it, or take it off the market and let it be empty. But they will offer a lower interest rate so your client can have the feel and the payment of $1 million home. So we're able to help you and your seller maximize the sales price. Secondly, we're creating a monthly income for your seller. I'll show you what this looks like in a couple of slides. Thirdly, the buyer saves significantly on the monthly payment. And last, the result is a turnkey win-win solution that doesn't exist anywhere else in the market right now. So be the one that's leading the pack. Be the one that has a different message. How many of you would like to have a different conversation other than, hey, it's time for another price drop? What about having the conversation of, hey, I recently learned of another way to market your home. What's your current interest rate? Oh, well, it's below 4%. One of the things that we could do is offer creative financing to see if we could find some buyers that would give you the down payment that you need, as well as be highly qualified, and maybe that you could sell your home for more and faster if we utilize seller financing as a tool. Now, again, it's just because we market it doesn't mean we have to do it. Would you be open to learning more about this, given that you have a below market interest rate? And this company has all of the risks figured out, and you can still go buy your next home. So here's an example. I was working on this. My agent I asked her if I could include her listing, and she asked if we would just take the address out. So I removed the numbers, but take a look in the top left. This seller has a first lien mortgage right now that's a 30-year fixed. And there's a remaining loan balance of $500,000 on this at 2.75%. They have a total payment of $2,323. And by the way, please ask questions in the chat. Ethan and the team are manning those. So if you have any questions, please ask those. And then Ethan will start answering those here shortly when we start wrapping up. So this seller has a first lien that 2.75%, growing right around $500,000. This home in particular, they thought they wanted 1.2 for it. That's what they thought it was worth until they met with the agent, and their agent was like, gosh, the market is soft. It's not 2021 anymore. You know, how many of your sellers feel that it's 2021? But she said, I have another tool that could get you up to 1.2 million. It does involve creative financing. Would you be interested in learning more about it? Part of that creative financing is seller financing. And they said, we don't want to do seller financing, but we are interested in learning more about how to be creative and if we can get a 1.2 number. Okay, she got us introduced. Here's what we did. We backed into, you can see these gold numbers. This seller said, I need right around $110,000 to go buy our next home, $120,000 to buy our next home. And so we backed into exactly what that would equal them as cash down after the agents are paid and after our fee is paid. So they chose 20% down, which got them $210,000. This is on the left-hand side. We built a loan for them, or will build a loan for them, because this home is just getting marketed for $840,000 if a buyer wants to put 20% down. Most of the buyers in this price point are putting more than 20% down, is what we're seeing for the seller financing. Again, the seller financing, the buyers that utilize seller financing are highly qualified self-employed buyers that are generally pre-approved on business bank statement loans. So you'll see that this seller is willing to offer a 3-year balloon. That's where you see the 3 right there. So that means that this is a 3-year loan. It's amortized for 30 years, but it's due in 3 years. And so the seller was basically signaling to the buyer that they need to refinance or sell the home by the end of 3 years at an interest rate of 4.99%. And then you'll see on the left, we collect the full PITI, so payment for this. But let's get into what the sizzle is, because I don't want to bore you with the numbers, because I know not everybody's numbers people. So let's talk about the sizzle. What does the seller get? Over here on the right-hand side, the first payout. The seller, after paying agent commissions, as well as the program fees for us, which is 1%, and then title and transaction costs, they're going to net about $128,000 cash in hand. But then check this out. This is where it gets exciting. If you're a numbers person or you want to sell more homes, they have a 2.75% interest rate. They're leaving some equity in this. They're going to get paid $2,181 a month while they are doing this seller financing transaction. Now, sellers are usually pretty happy about this. And when I say usually, the only thing that they may say, is there any way I can get paid off sooner than the 3 years? And the answer is absolutely. And that's what the preferred lender's job is to do. The preferred lender contacts this home buyer every 3 months and says, by the way, you've got 2 years, 9 months left. Let's get a refinance going. You've got 2 years, 6 months left. You've got 2 years and 3 months left. And we're always trying to get that home buyer to refinance if it makes sense for them. You will see the second total monthly payout, this seller made an extra $78,000 in cash flow over the 3-year period of time. And then when the buyer refinances, they're going to get paid the remainder of their equity, $343,000. Now, you heard me say earlier, they wanted $1,250,000 for this home. They had to wait 3 years for it, but they're going to get there because the seller financing it produces an extra $199,000, $199,365. You'll see that down at the bottom. Higher proceeds, which is profit, which is more than 57% more profit over 3 years. You add $200,000 to the $1,050,000. What do you get? $1,250,000. So that is how these sellers, and these sellers in particular, didn't need all their money. But in the event that they did, we have the ability to show them that as well. So we have second liens where we can get the seller additional cash. And when we ran this for this seller, they thought they needed all their money to go buy their next home. But you'll see here in a moment, they don't. So here's what the seller was looking at. They're looking to buy a 1.21 next home. Had they sold their home traditionally, they would net $350,000 cash in hand. But because they remember they have that 2.75% interest rate, that is still being paid down. Their current loan does not get paid off. Our servicing company pays their mortgage every month when we collect the total payment. So you'll see that their total payment right here, today's interest rate 6.53 is what we had them pre-approved for. And the principal and interest payment was $5,447. Had they sold their home traditionally today. The MORE program, I won't go through all of it, but you can see they're putting down the down payment proceeds, $128,000. That's all they're netting from this sale. They didn't net the $350,000. They left some of the equity in their home, which means they didn't get an $859,000 loan like they did up above. They got a $1,081,000 loan. The interest rate's a little bit higher. It's about a 1/4 point higher, because we have a portfolio loan that they can get, which means their net cash flow from the MORE bridge loan program of $2,181 then allows them to offset their mortgage and end up with a payment that is lower by $500 a month compared to what it would have been had they sold their home traditionally. Do you see that their payment is 4.857%? Or $4,857 at 3.5%. So you can see how this works. And then at the end of 3 years on the right-hand side, we're going to start and run a little short on time. So I'm going to jump down. They end up with an extra $127,000 worth of equity. And then if they did a recast and not even a refinance, their payment is still $400 a month cheaper than it would have been had they just done this traditionally. So why more? We have a proven success and a track record. We are here to explain this to your sellers for you. Your only job is to get us introduced. We say, send us the address, and then we'll educate everybody else. Okay. And all you need to do is send it to my listing at moresellerfinancing.com. You're at the address with your contact information, and we will send you an email back with the highlights that's designed for you to forward to your seller. We will then give you a call and go over the email with you so that you're not just emailing something that you've never seen or heard of before. Our job for negotiation advantages. So by offering below market rates, it makes negotiating on price less likely. Remember, we are here to help bring this transaction together, and we are through our program, because we're negotiating down payment, the term, and the interest rate. It takes away from the sales price being the only focus point. We are a turnkey solution. We handle this from all the way from education of you to education of the sellers, the marketing that goes into your MLS, all the way to the education of the buyer and the buyer's agent, as well as helping bring the transaction together and completing the third-party seller financing addendum, as well as all of the special provisions on the servicing company that'll be used, the insurance company that'll be used, all the different things. So that's what we provide. And we like to say it's lending the way it should be. This was built by loan officers to protect sellers and agents and to help transactions come together. But why is it the way lending should be? Well, if you have a buyer that's willing to give an amount down that works for the seller, and the seller, it says, yeah, that'll work for me, why can't they transact even if a loan is on the property? They can through our program, through the More Seller Financing program. So if you want to have another tool in your tool belt for your stale listings, or even when you go on listing appointments, I'll talk about this real quick. We've been engaged more than 600 times. What we have found, if you just add this to your repertoire in your listing presentation, you will land around 1.5 more listings per listing presentation you go on. So what does that mean? Per 2 listings that you go on, you're going to land 1 other. Why? Because you are talking about something that nobody else is. You are seen as the created value add provider. And somebody that has a tool, whether the seller goes with it, moves forward with it or not, you're seen as somebody that has more creative options than somebody else. Also, for your buyers, would you like to have another conversation other than, for buyers that do not want new construction, or, hey, I'm still waiting for rates to drop? What happens if you could call them today and say, we have the ability to find sellers that will offer below market interest rates below 5%? Would you like to learn about that program? If you do, send it to my listing at moresellerfinancing.com. Ethan and the team, Patrick, will be in touch, and we'll talk to you about how the More Buyers program works. That's what we had today. And we like to say you get more home for your money. And for buyers, they get more get more money for your home and get more home for your money. That's what we had today. Ethan, did you have any questions that you'd like to share? Anything you want to jump in on?
Hey, thanks, Ryan. So we did have one question, and it was just about buyer prepayment. Buyer can refinance or pay off that loan by any means as soon as they want. There's no prepayment penalty. This really is just a Band-Aid or a bridge in order to get us to a place where actually affordable financing is available for qualified buyers in a way that creates additional incentive for qualified sellers and gives you guys the additional tools at no cost to anybody to market and increase the buyer activity. Thank you, everybody. Please, also, I did say, give me a thumbs up in the chat if you have a listing that could use a creative kind of kick in the pants, something different than a price reduction. Please send us an email. Put the listing address, give us the current listing price, and let us do a little homework for you. My team and I will put together a custom example, send it over to you, and then give you a phone call so that you have the tools, can ask a couple questions, and then be able to be comfortable and confident introducing the concept to your sellers and your sellers to our team of experts. We're here to help support you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ethan. Well, turning it back over to you, Sarah.
Ryan, thank you so much for the amazing education. I know we've had people asking as I've been sharing a little bit at a time with people that I coach one-on-one, like, hey, I need that. How do I get in there? So I've been making some one-on-one introductions. For the agents who are on or who go back and listen to the recording now, is there a cheat sheet of like talking points and education points we can give them for what makes the right introduction in general? Or is the first step always going to be, here's the address of the listing? Does it even make sense for this one?
Here's the address of the listing. Does it even make sense? That's
Okay.
where we start. Let us go ahead and start there, and then we will go ahead and call the agent and then talk about the best ways to approach that client based on that situation. Because, you know, some listings it's a divorce situation, some listings it's other things. I mean, for example, we had a divorce situation. Ethan talked to these buyers and sellers with a really popular agent out of Sacramento. They had it on the market for 90 days, not a very, very little showings. And then so they took it off for 3 weeks, added the More program, and added it last week. They now have 3 offers, multiple offers after no showings for 90 days. And so 2 of the offers are traditional, and one of them is, so it was a traditional offer that was really low and then a seller financing offer. Then she got to say, well, it's multiple offer, best, highest and best. So what did that do? She leveraged a seller financing offer to increase the traditional offer, right? The client is going to go with the traditional offer, but here's what's really interesting. As the universe has it, we all have had this happen. We don't get any offers for 6 months, 10 months, whatever it looks like. And then all of a sudden we get an offer. Well, they got another seller financing offer that's coming in that is going to be over and above list. So she's with our program, she's attracted 2 other offers and a traditional offer, and she was able to leverage the traditional offer up within $10,000 of list price when they came in $80,000 less. And now she has another seller financing offer, a traditional offer $10,000 below, and a seller financing offer $10,000 above. The marketing works. She's so excited about the program. She had me do a podcast yesterday for her YouTube channel, and about just that as a case study, that regardless if your sellers are going to do it or not, the marketing works. And so that's what we have. Obviously, we're able to help pre-approve and guide and walk everybody through it. But we're here to ultimately help everybody sell some more real estate and create win-win transactions, be a solution provider in the marketplace. So
That's awesome.
does anybody
Thank
else
you
have
so
anything
much.
that they want to ask or finish on?
Anybody have questions for Ryan? Okay, so I actually write it in the chat, and that's another thing. I know agents like to get tools in their hands so they can digest it more and understand better. I will refer people back to the recording so they can kind of dive in and walk through at their own pace, that visual of how does it work. And I will really strongly encourage us to come to you with a listing address to see if that's a good first step. And that's really the key, y'all. It's whether you're watching live or on the recording, understanding you have this additional tool in your tool belt and being able to explain in a few bullets how it can help leverage more offers when it's the right opportunity. You don't have to go further than that. Do not become an expert. You just want to introduce the property to the team and let them take it from there and see. Go ahead, BB.
I just wanted to say they mentioned earlier the reason I was really open to this. This was in 1992. For those of us old enough, there was an S&L crisis back in those days, and after that period, homes were not moving, and so basically it was stuck inventory. And the stuck inventory we have today is not because the reason is because people are stuck in that below 5% mortgage rate. They don't want to leave it, and they don't want to go into a 6.5. That's the reason today. And it worked for me, 1992, and that's why I was really open to this. And I will be helping you in the language of real estate class with Ed next week to help you sell this to the people that you're prospecting to. There's a huge market here if you guys are smart enough to see it. But you got to be smart enough to see it and then apply it, because you will definitely have more business if you get out there and share this system.
Thank you, Bob. And Patrick mentioned it earlier. We do assume the liability on this. It's everybody indemnifies the agents as well as the brokerage through our program, our platform. Patrick, go ahead.
going to put on my team leader hat for just a second. And I want to encourage, my intention is to encourage everyone on this call, whether you're on the call right now or you're hearing the recording later. Your greatest opportunity of 2025 is coming up. Q4 is the greatest opportunity. Reason for that is your competition is going to go like this. Last year in Q4, we had the largest attrition rate of real estate agents since 2008, right? Largest attrition rate of real estate agents since 2008. That's staggering. This year, we're seeing the same trends happen across, if not more. So I share that with you because it truly does become the strategies that you're implementing with your income producing activities. We get it. We understand it. We know how to help. So please reach out to us and let's go crush your goals because Q4 is the greatest opportunity.
Way to go, Patrick. Well said. All right.
Love that, y'all. Happy Wednesday. Happy September. You got 120 days left. Go make something magical happen. And remember, Friday's got a great opportunity for you at noon in the training room. And we'll see you then. Bye.
All righty. Bye.